Intersection B leads to giant chasm. This area's been renamed. This is the old version. By the way, my name is bRan, and welcome to my video where we're talking about the map I'm working on. This is the old version. We're going to jump into the new version and look at the progress. First, I'd like you to notice how dizzy that just was and how far down we're going. Down, 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 down. A little too far. A problem we're going to accidentally fix in the update. We come down here, we enter the giant chasm. It is sandstone, because back in the day, like, let's just use a block. That's cool. And shape it. Sure. Good enough. It's ravine. What if you went through a ravine? It'd be kind of maze-like. That could be interesting. It's not. You'll notice this big giant swath area where there's just like a bunch of blocks missing. That's because there's TNT and there's a gimmick in this area where you shoot through the lava and hit the TNT and light it on fire and break a spawner. Let's walk, float, meander through here. Let's find another one. I know I have more than one area like that. Ah, yes. Here we go. So as the player, you see the spawner. It's spinning up. That's another thing that I'm fixing in the new version. I've primed all the spawners. This one might have been primed, honestly. And if you're not familiar, primed means as soon as you get in range, it's ready to pop off. But if we, for demonstration purposes, let's just use this. But you could light this on fire with a bow and arrow through the lava. And you make the area safe. You also kind of leave a terrible mess, but it's fun. It's a cool thing. So this is the third dungeon of Happy Love, Deception. I get weird pauses because I'm trying to think of the old name, the new name, etc., etc. It's basically a relay, back and forth, back and forth. It's very easy to get lost. It's very maze-like and not in an interesting way. Notice the side walls are just a flat cutoff. And eventually, you get here. And there's not an easy way back. And you come in here, and then you get what I'm calling Dungeon 3, the City in Chambers. And if that wasn't Dungeon 3, then I guess this is. It's just a bunch of obsidian orbs that are really tightly packed, really claustrophobic, eventually up through here, in bedrock, so you can't cheese it. Although I will mention Speedy Cube 64, and if that was just a robot voice, it's because I said his name wrong. Did a speed run of all 3 of my MiniCTM maps, and it's awesome, and I'll put the link in the description. And I think he just came somewhere up here and placed a block and used a ender pearl and got in here and grabbed the wool, and it was beautiful. I think that's the way this area is really meant to be played. So this is Giant Chasm, and this is my favorite map. This is my absolute favorite map, and this is my least favorite area of the entire map. It's interesting in that it's different, but it's kind of boring. For context, let's start at intersection 2. Here we are. And then, Painted Ravine, Dungeon 3. No confusion. This is Dungeon 3. Here's the first difference. The path kind of continues. It's caved in, and then there's this opening, which I really like. I think that's really cool. The next major difference, you go down just a very small amount before you are here. The main reason is honestly only because the way the nether block height limit works in Bedrock. I had to move things up and down and around to squeeze it in, because we are in the actual nether, whereas in the previous version of this map, it does not take place in the nether. It just looks like it does. So we are immediately a lot more colorful. And that's because I had developed these blocks in the remake of my first map, Sandstone. And I thought, they'd look really good here. On the side, though, it was still very flat. I did not like that. It didn't look good. And so I hand filled it in, just with a couple layers of blocks. If you dig away at it, there's bedrock underneath. Also the darker colors for the bridges. This same lava thing here's not exploded, and we're not going to set this one off. There's the spawner. I've set it to a longer distance, shorter distance, normal distance. The others will be set to a longer distance. This one is intentionally not triggered until you're really close. You can actually get over here and dismantle it before it even has a chance to spin and trigger. And that's just me trying to think it through like a game, because it is, and give the player an opportunity to set that off. You should have a bow by this time. There will be a more obvious tip sign with the glow and the yellow, like that one. This chest is just items that I need to disseminate into the various chest areas. Here right away, I have the better bow. This was later on in the area, but just in case you've lost your bow or you've run out of arrows, this item is for fun. It's kind of a melee weapon with sharpness 5. I believe, let's do math in live. I think it's 1.25 damage, not hearts. Damage, you have 20 hit points. You have 10 hearts, but everything is in damage. Everything is in hit points, because that's how I have to think about it. So it's 6.25. I'm not even going to check. If I'm wrong, I can be embarrassed. But something like that. It's not good is a melee weapon, but if you're shooting things with the bow and then things get too close, rather than trying to pull back, you can just go swing, swing, and if you've already hit them with a couple arrows, it should be enough to take them out. So these tunnels are, I might have shown this in a previous video somewhere, but they're decorated in a way where this white and black mix will lead you to the end, the final area, if you just keep following that pattern. And then, if you're going not that way, you'll see the top area gets a lighter mix. It's more just some of the grays. I don't know that every player will notice that, and that's okay. But it's also a way to make some tunnels more unique than others, so it's not just a tunnel, it's not just a maze. The bridges, while they'll all be similar, I'm going to try to have something unique about each one. This one, for example, is twisted to the side. It's got chains holding it up on one end. The chains are broken. It has another one of these fire lava things, canisters. hanging from it. Maybe that's why it's twisted. Maybe it's just twisted because it's old. It doesn't really matter why. And then I'm not reintroducing, that's not the right way to frame it. We've already introduced dim tech in various other areas of this map. So here I'm letting them be a place. Another... They also exist here in a way that is helpful to the player. I'm not sold that this is the final design, but basically I wanted to make up a numbering system, and so I've decided on horizontal depth tracking system. And I actually had that all spelled out on this sign, and then I was going to have another sign underneath it with the information. But it just, 2 signs on top of each other like that, it doesn't look good because they space weird. So it's just a sign with a value, and it says if you go this way, you'll get to the next one of these, which will be at 7.2 horizontal distance. It's not really, I'm not going to actually count it. I might guesstimate some scale and make it kind of fit, sort of. It's meant to, sorry for all the mouse bumps, by the way. It's meant to represent you're going deeper in through this system, and there's some established group that's been there before you and marked out things. For example, this way is artifact D3SF. And that's just a way of telling the player that this whole path is kind of optional, but there's something there. This bridge still needs to be swapped out. A lot of these lights are placeholders for where I want to put spawners. This bridge I've redone. I made this bridge really plain. But then I also have a lamp missing, which is unique. There's no chains or anything, which is unique. It's down lower. It's connecting two different tunnels that have the lighter gray. So far, it's very unique. I just need to make sure that all the other bridges, when I replace them, they don't match this exactly. We have the spawner, and that does activate from further away, and I gave it a little shelf. That's so they have somewhere to stand. But you still could come over this way, line up, and set that off. And that should kill them, or mostly kill them. They don't really have a way to come down and get here. These are the windstorm skeletons. They do have punch bows, so they're kind of annoying in that way. But if you're careful and plan, I think there's fun ways to eliminate the threats. These are just silverfish, or my variation silverfish. They're just colored a little bit different. Maybe they have different health points, I'm not sure. But I like these little chambers, because it gives them room to spawn and then kind of pour out. If you're quick, you could block it off. That's one way to deal with them. Or you can just kill them. They're not that strong. And then here is a different bridge yet again. Very unique. Not that it would need to be that unique. If you look at this is kind of, this should stand out. I'm used to seeing this right now because I've looked at it so many times. But I know it looks kind of weird. Why is there this ice cave in the middle of nowhere? And I don't even know. Sometimes I just decide something would be funny and then I do it and it works out. This is the Flaming Bone Wand, which is the artifact or the major weapon of this map. In each map, I made a level 1, 2, 3, a tiered item that gets better as you get along. And it's in Dungeon 1, 2, 3. So this is Fire Aspect 4, Bane 4, Knockback 4. This will kill spiders pretty quickly, especially with the fire tick damage and the knockback. For regular everything else, you probably want to use one of the other weapons. I feel like I'm talking with question marks a lot this session. It's weird that every time I record, it's a little bit different. I guess I'm feeling unsure on myself. I don't know. But this is the painted ravine. It's very beautiful. I haven't worked on that much of it. But I did make it so the different tunnels, they don't just loop. They do split, they dead end. In a couple cases like this one just goes in a loop, but it's also colored very differently from everything else. On this half, there's a series of tunnels, but also ladders and cliffs. So it's quite different. The issue isn't a player being smart or dumb about it or anything like that. The issue is if everything looks too similar, you don't have anything to grab patterns for. But eventually, you'll get over here, and there's no city and chambers. There's just this giant open area with the monument box up there. And this will be a battle area. And I think I'm actually going to have my first boss mob. So as far as progress goes, the other areas, we won't call them done, because they're never done. They're not really done until you playtest everything. Make sure it's balanced. But everything other than this area is very close to being done. I'm almost ready to have this playtested, which is exciting. You've now seen all the areas of this map, old and new. I still got a little bit of work to do. Next step would be playtesting. And if I have any little interesting short bits, I can jot those down and maybe have little videos about that. I'm interested to hear your feedback, but that's going to be it for this time. So until next time, I'll see you later. Have a good day.